What's up, family? Now I am going to talk about race, and this is the second segment of my podcast. But this week, I think I spent enough time talking about Joshua Brown and that whole situation. I am just so hurt still about that, brother. And as you saw in the last segment when I talked about coon consciousness, that is where we are, and how a lot of black people are looking at this young man's death. It just goes to show how much cover-ups are still alive and well and taking over the country on all levels. And I'll talk about that later in my politics section, because we're in a land of cover-ups, if you ask me right now. But basically, I wanted to talk about how America basically is having a black experience. And that's why a lot of white folks cannot handle it. We can, because we've dealt with this for so long. For so long, being oppressed, being dogged out, being lied upon, being treated like crap. And now the country is starting to see some of the things that it's doing and that they've always done. I mean, really, when you look at it, people, the reason why we kind of can keep it together, so much bullshit has happened to us over centuries that we see it coming and we just roll with it and deal with it. Though we have got to stop doing that. We've got to start standing up for ourselves. We've got to start doing more, which we have always done, but it's at critical mass at this point because people are losing it. Like I said, the powers that be know that their time is ticking, so they got to do something, and that unfortunately is the time that we're living in right now, and how we're gonna have to deal with creating our own destiny, and that's something I will be talking about in the future. But right now, America, you are starting to see the dirt that you've done to people all over this world. Okay, and white folks have got to own up to what they're doing. They'll be the first one to always point the finger at everybody else and what's not right, and you people and all of that. Yet and still, they never want to take responsibility for what they've done. And honestly, what's going on in this country is nothing new. It's something that policies and things that we've had toward other countries, toward our own right here. Okay, so in terms of taking responsibility, you're going to have to also take your hit. You cannot continue to do what you've been doing all this time, and all you evangelicals, you reap what you sow. Now, you want to sit up here, hire a person of God, and call themselves a Christian or whatever, and can support 45. I don't know. That's just that when I was just talking about black folks with coonery, then white people are in denial. And I ain't talking about a river in Egypt either. Okay, the fact that you can look the other way, you can find excuses after excuse after excuse after excuse of what's going on in this country and not take ownership of that, that's what's going to come to bite you in your ass. Okay, and that includes all the racists, all the Trumpanzees, and it also includes the racist liberals. Because there's a bunch of y'all out there too. You want to say about what all you believe and how things need to change or whatever, but you're still benefiting from the same system, so you're not wanting to change it. When I look at all these so-called progressive people on air that just can't seem to find a kind word for Bernie Sanders at all, when he's the most progressive out of all of them, when you look at everybody's policies, okay? But that's getting into politics. Let me stick with the race thing. The race thing is that you do not want to own up to your shit, white people. And all y'all liberals, I'm thinking about the whole Ellen DeGeneres thing right about now. Oh, it's cute little Ellen, and she's smiley, and she's nice, and we've got to be nice. And why we got to be nice? To who? She needs to look at the fact of what George Bush did in terms of legislation against the alphabet people. Okay. But then she's like, well, I have friends that I don't agree with. It's difference in not agreeing with somebody and somebody that's doing you in, like his ass would have if he could have. Okay, he's a war criminal. He's killed hundreds of thousands of people in these fake ass wars we've gotten in. So, if you can brush that all away and, but, we just watching a football game. Well, you starting to, that's some coonery shit to me. Okay? You can't, on the one hand, talk about forgiveness and being cool or whatever, with somebody that's an ass. That's a war criminal. That's so-called homophobic. Which I still don't understand that term, because nobody is afraid of gay people. They just may not like them, but they ain't afraid of them. But anyway, that is a total example of what I'm talking about, in the sense that people do what they want to do. They hang out with who they want to hang out with. When they're in a certain class or a certain whatever, they can dismiss a bunch of shit and just hang out. Yeah, people will say, oh, well, you're making a big deal. You're making a mountain out of a molehill. Not really. You can't be nice and play nice to people that have done people wrong, and then think you're not going to catch some hell on it. That's why the alphabet people went after her. That's why war people that know about the war and about all other bullshit he did. If that's the case, let's just, can we just all get along? Is that what we talking about? That shit doesn't work. And I'm sorry, I'm kind of across the board. Now, I will be cool with anybody that's cool with me. However, if you have stances, and it's not about belief. She was talking about, well, people have different beliefs than me. That's not a belief when you get a person in a war. That's not a belief when you want to try to pass legislation to discriminate against homosexuals. Okay, that's beyond belief. Okay, and so you just have to own up to your shit. You, Ellen, you paid, you got all your stuff, you do whatever you want to, you hang out with what you want, you give away a few little things and be nice to people. That's cool, that's your brand, but you will fuck up your brand if you keep hanging out with somebody like him. And it's just the way it is. It is what it is. You can't have everything both ways. It just doesn't work. And your people, your alphabet people and everybody else, will turn on your ass if you keep doing that. And if you want to take the hit and say that's your friend and you cool and you go hang out, do that. I'll never be one to tell people what they should not do. Okay, and what they shouldn't. No, do whatever you are grown enough to do. My thing is, though, then you got to take the hit for it. You got to take responsibility for it. And that is what white people got to do in this country. You got to take responsibility for the shit you've done. I said, because nobody of color has been in the position to do any of this shit. Okay? And so it's on you, boo. It's on you, and you cannot run away from it. So, Ellen, go and do what you got to do, girlfriend. But you keep hanging out with the wrong crowd, you gonna catch it too. So that's it for this segment, and I will see y'all in the next one.